Today on Tuff Trax is perhaps the most exciting night of racing ever on the TNT Monster Truck Challenge. The Gravedigger loses 2 times in one night of racing, but ends up as a champion. And the Equalizer takes this nasty double. Don't go away. Tuff Trax welcomes you to beautiful Richmond, Virginia. And we're going to be taking you to the Richmond International Raceway, where earlier this year, Rusty Wallace was able to buzz his way to a NASCAR Winston Cup victory. And today, the best monster truck in the world will try to take a TNT Monster Truck Challenge win. All the bad dogs are here to try and get another victory on Tuff Trax and grab away that silver flag from Gary Porter of Carolina Crusher, who won the silver flag a week ago right here on Tuff Trax. Right now, Porter is standing by with Army Armstrong to get ready.
Welcome to Richmond, Virginia, where the monster trucks are going to be chasing the national championship points down pit row. Pit row presents kind of a unique problem in being that Gary Porter, last week's winner on this tour, you're going to be carrying a flag. Everybody's going to be coming after it, but on each side of this course, there's a big wall.
It is. It's a big wall. It's about 3 feet high, and if we get off the cars, we're going to be on the wall. We just want to be real conscious of what's going on and drive the trucks as straight as we can.
All the big drivers are here. USA 1 Rod Litzow, he finally gets to go outdoors and really leg the horsepower in a Chevrolet engine. Scott Stevens comes up from Woodland, Texas with one of the most innovative trucks we've seen. Onboard computers, communications with his pit crew. He's definitely going after the national championship, and he's going to start right here in Richmond, Virginia. How are you going to drive your truck, Gary Porter, in order to hang on to the flag?
Well, with all the tough competition that's here, I'm going to have to drive it, wide open. We've got 2 sets of cars. I'll come off with the first set of cars in second gear. When I get in the flat and get it straight out, I'll shift it to third and just hold it to the floor.
So it's going to be 2 jumps for the monster trucks in Richmond. That's going to be the monster truck into the program. Stay tuned for the pulling. Scott, tell us all about the pulling action coming our way.
The TNT All-American Pulling Series will be going to a beautiful part of the country, Fishersville, Virginia, and will be outside at the Augusta Expo Land in Fishersville for some of the most awesome spectacles in motorsports. We're talking about the super modified 2-wheel drive truck. Now, the sled has already been set at the Augusta Expo Land in Fishersville, and our first official puller will be the Kodiak Dodge out of New Haven, Indiana, Jim Brockman. Brockman's going to lay down the distance that everybody's going to shoot at. Army is obviously, as we get with the super modified, a unique design, and this is one of the really unique designs.
Well, Brockman is no charger on this tour. He relies on the areas for horsepower. The horsepower is special made all aluminum engines. The sheet metal in the truck, early model Dodge, a crowd favorite wherever he goes, and like you say, whatever he lays down, that's what everybody's going to have to go after, and everybody is watching him because the track is drying out tremendously, Scott.
Looks like he's got a good pull going now as the Kodiak Dodge staying right in the middle of the track. Jim Brockman in a cloud of dust. Lays her down. We'll get the official distance for Jim Brockman. It's 294.66. So a little later here on Tuff Trax, we're going to see some of the best pullers anywhere in the world trying to knock off Brockman and take him out. But when we come back, we're going back to Richmond, Virginia as a monster truck rocked Richmond during the qualifications of TNT Monster Truck Challenge action right here on Tuff Trax. Stay there. Tuff Trax is brought to you by the Nintendo Entertainment System. Nintendo. Now you're playing with power. We'll be right back. Welcome to Tuff Trax. Hi again, everyone. I'm Scott Douglas, standing in the shadow of this supercharged 460 motor, a motor that's going to power monster truck action on the TNT Monster Truck Challenge. Stay right there. You've got the best seat in the house for great monster truck action here on Tuff Trax. And that monster truck action's coming your way from Richmond, Virginia. We're at the Richmond International Raceway, a place that's used to seeing a lot of power, but never more than they're going to see today with the TNT Monster Truck Challenge. Here's the way the points look coming into today's action. Equalizer has the edge. Carolina Crusher's really been dogging him and did well last week here on Tuff Trax. Gravedigger, good start, has struggled as of late, will try to come back today. And maybe the hot man right now is Rod Litzow in USA 1, Nightlife 5th, then Wild Hair, Mad Dog, the Breen boys sitting there at 6 and 7. John Moore so problem. Marvin Smith and Stomper and the Master of Disaster rounds out the top 10 on a very competitive TNT Monster Truck Challenge standing for the 1989 season. Getting ready now with qualification action. Here's King Crunch, Scott Stevens out of Woodlands, Texas, ready to go at it, Army.
Well, Scott, we just did a rundown on the top 10. You notice this name was not there. The reason being, Stevens and his crew have just finished the truck. A lot of work in this truck that other drivers don't have. They have an onboard computer. He's in constant communication with his pit crew. Stevens out of the Lone Star State definitely showing he's going to be a force to contend with, but on his qualifying shot, completely shielded transmission and will not be able to come back in elimination.
7.92, so he got down the track in good shape, but a broken transmission knocked King Crunch and Scott Stevens out for the day. Well, here's one they really love to watch in action, the awesome gravedigger, Dennis Anderson out of Chesapeake, Virginia.
Just about an hour and a half away from home, the Virginia native lines up on Virginia clay, heading down the pit road of Richmond International Raceway. He'll be working the left side of the track. The rear engine gravedigger comes out a little bit out of shape. Now he's got to pull the trigger on the final jump. Good run for the gravedigger. He's going to be a player before the night's over.
Not a thought about that pit wall. It's excellent. 7.36 for gravedigger. And, you know, you've got to think about that pit wall, but if you do, then it's going to take a little something away from your performance. Obviously, Army Anderson looks only ahead.
Yeah, he drives to the front. He doesn't worry about left, right, or the rear or anything. But during the driver interviews last week, I did notice in the back of their minds, you could almost see it in their eyes, they were all definitely aware of the big white wall that lines the sides of the track.
The silver flag gracing the back of the Carolina Crusher. You met him a few moments ago. Gary Porter out of Wadesboro, North Carolina, has been outstanding this year in Tuff Trax and is second in the national point. He's getting ready to go after the qualifying time of 7.36, set down by Dennis Anderson. A good shot from the Carolina Crusher.
A lot of air on the final jump. That's turning into his trademark. A little bit out of shape, shuts it down. And as you said, he's the one carrying the winner flag from last week. Porter definitely believes he can make up ground on the equalizer this weekend in Richmond.
He is quicker than Gravedigger. The time is 7.13 seconds for Gary Porter and the Carolina Crusher, and he had an excellent run, Army.
Scott, he did exactly what he said he was going to do. He shifted into high gear right before the final jump, and you notice how much air he had. He really went out, almost clearing the second set of cars completely. But look who's coming up now.
Rod Litzow, USA 1, defending national champion out of Spring Lake Park, Minnesota. A very, very shaky start to the season, but he has been coming on.
Well, he and the crew have been really thrashing, trying to put the horsepower down. It looks like it's working, but on that run, if you look at the front of the truck, the front drive shaft went completely away. That was a two-wheel drive run, a strong 659, and only using the rear wheels to put that horsepower to the ground, Scott.
Fantastic run for Rod Litzow. I mean, he just got under 7 seconds, only man to do it.
Yeah, but the problem, that may come back to haunt him later because you've got to have four-wheel drive if you're going to win. Speaking of four-wheel drive, this young man is not intimidated by the wall because the narrowness of the truck gives him an opportunity to see the wall where the other drivers can't. It's the awesome Kong truck out of Texas.
Steve Kane from Killeen, Texas, laying down the time, and it'll be a good one, but I don't think it's quick enough. 7.66. He'll not be fast qualifier, but it is a good qualifying run for the uniquely designed awesome Kong out of Killeen, Texas, Steve King. Now, here's a guy who's been hot all season, the national point leader, David Morris, and the equalizer out of Springfield, Tennessee. Now, earlier, as he got ready, we asked him how he's going to drive on this narrow track.
I'm not really sure yet. I'm going to try to run a fast race, but we're going to have some tight quarters here in this race, so it's going to have a lot of control along with the fast speed.
That would seem to play right into David Morris's hand because, Army, if there's one thing he's had all year on a lot of these courses, it's more control, better handling, the ability to straighten his truck out quicker than other trucks.
Yeah, his truck is a very responsive truck. You notice a little out of shape. He backs up, nails the throttle again, and lays down a good run. But again, like we said in the interviews, everybody is aware of the wall. A 766 is what we get for his qualifying time. Not bad. That'll put him in the top half of the field.
But it's USA 1 as the quick qualifier. Rod Litzow at 6.59. Is he serving notice that the defending national champ is truly back? We're going to find out a little bit later because when we come back, it's door-to-door, side-by-side, monster truck excitement right here on Tuff Trax. Tuff Trax in the TNT Monster Truck Challenge in Richmond, Virginia. I'm Scott Douglas with Army Armstrong. Here's the way we'll see him after the qualification. USA 1, fast qualifier, gets a bye. We know he'll go to the quarterfinals. Equalizer will match up with Nightlife. Then it's Leadfoot going up against John Moore, and no problem. Gravedigger comes back to go up against Wild Hair. That ought to be an exciting matchup. We'll see Awesome Kong coming out against Stomper and Marvin Smith. And then to wrap up the first round action, it'll be Mad Dog taking on Clydesdale and the powerful Carolina Crusher, the Chevy, against the Jersey Outlaw Ford. Picking up the action in the first round, we'll go ahead and watch the bye run of the defending national champion, USA 1, Rod Litzow, out of Spring Lake Park, Minnesota.
Well, now, Scott, in the qualifying session, he did have quick time of the night. That's going to give him the bye, and it's a break for him. The reason being, they broke a drive shaft to the front wheels, and the crew is not sure exactly what happened there, why it broke. Now, they've been having all kinds of problems trying to get the truck ironed out. A broken drive shaft is something you do not want. Litzow makes an easy pass down the right lane. Everything looks good. Now let's go door-to-door monster truck racing.
First up, Dave Wachorek, Nightlife out of Nebraska will be taking on Equalizer and the youngster David Morris, the national point leader out of Tennessee.
Scott, keep an eye on both of these drivers. I believe their subconscious is going to make them try to both fudge to the inside of the track. Now the Equalizer leads real good in the left lane. A strong run. He's going to advance. He'll be going against USA 1 in that next round of eliminations. That could be an all-star setup itself. But I hope we've got a replay coming up on it, because the camera angle on the end of the track is going to show you they're both trying to work the middle of the track. Nobody wants to get near the wall. Notice the replay comes up now. Equalizer out. He goes to the middle. Nightlife, he goes to the middle. And everybody's trying to stay away from that wall. Look at them. They come 1-2 right across the finish line.
And that means something you got to watch for. Is everybody trying to cheat to that middle? You never know. You start to get out of shape, you're going to be in the other guy's lane. Something there is a very, very narrow edge, narrow room for error, if you will, in this course.
You know, this monster truck can actually have a groove in it before the night's over. Speaking of groove, these guys are grooving head-to-head. Look at the kid out of Missouri. We see a major upset. Bob Breen put the Gravedigger on the trailer in the first round. What an upset, Scott.
So Bob Breen knocks off the local favorite in Virginia, Gravedigger. Here's Army with Bob right now.
Bob, you had a conversation with Dennis before the run. What'd you tell him?
I told him you better hammer it.
Does that wall bother you guys out there at all tonight?
Oh, it'll make you a little bit leery. You know, you kind of wonder, because when you hit the cars, when you come down, if you don't hit them square on, you don't know where you're going to come off of them at.
So the best situation is to get out in the lead quick. Is that what we can look for?
Yeah, I think you're going to look for the man that gets the lead. He's going to be the one that finishes.
Good luck to you in that next round.
Thank you.
Bob Breen and Wild Hair knocking off Virginia's own Gravedigger. So he is beaten in the first round, but may come back later as a fast loser. Right now, Stomper and Marvin Smith out of Arnold, Missouri will challenge one of the quicker qualifiers. Fourth fastest today was Steve Kane and Awesome Kong.
Well, like we said in the qualifying session, I believe Kane has a little bit of an advantage here, because the narrow truck gives him an opportunity to watch that wall all the time, and he's driving more aggressively than any driver here. He's still attacking the track in the old Awesome Kong manner. The walls are not bothering that Texan.
Boy, he won that one fairly easily. Awesome Kong out of Killeen, Texas. Steve Kane advancing into the quarterfinal round with a victory over Marvin Smith and the Stomper Chevrolet. Now, the other Breen in competition, John Breen, will bring the Mad Dog out of Jefferson City, Missouri, up against Bennett Clark's Clydesdale out of Powder Springs, Georgia. The very long wheelbase of the Clydesdale may come into play here.
The long track, the long wheelbase, 144.5 inches, could be an advantage for the Clydesdale. However, Breen's giving him a good run. Clydesdale legs it out over the final set of cars to advance, Scott.
It is Clydesdale coming away with a victory. Bennett Clark, who's known for these kind of last-second lunges here on Tuff Trax, does it again as he's able to edge out Mad Dog and John Breen. Army, here's the replay.
Breen gets a good lead on. You got to remember now, Breen has given away about 500 horsepower, but what won the race was not the horsepower. You brought it out earlier. The long wheelbase made that truck a whole lot more stable than the Mad Dog. So the Clydesdale, we'll see him later on the eliminations. And hey, it looks like the Ford people have got something to cheer about now, Scott.
On the back of the truck, it says, "Friends don't let friends drive Chevys." It's Mike Wine and the Jersey Outlaw Ford. He'll be going up against Jerry Porter and the Carolina Crusher. Earlier, we asked Jerry Porter if he's made any changes to his truck lately.
Well, the last couple of weeks have been going pretty good for me. The truck's been running consistent, but I'm always looking for improvements to do to the truck. I make changes on the suspension just about every weekend, and I have plans for a new motor coming up in the near future.
It worked for him last week on Tuff Trax because you see he's got the silver flag. The Jersey Outlaw is going to try and knock him out of keeping it this week as they go side by side.
Well, the way to win the championship is to win one race at a time, and that's exactly what Gary Porter's doing, but he took an awfully wild bounce to the right when he went over that last set of cars, Scott.
He really did. Kind of got sideways, as you mentioned, but he's still rolling. Looks like he's okay, and the silver flag remains intact on the back of the Carolina Crusher as he's trying to defend it today. All right, Ford people, here comes that Bronco, John Moore, the no-problem Bronco, up against Ron Dennis and Leadfoot. Leadfoot's out of Flagstaff, Arizona, and the no-problem Bronco is out of Lafayette, Tennessee.
I think battle Ford versus Chevrolet. Moore gets a good lead in the left lane, but watch the Arizona Chevrolet come back and take the win. Boy, Ron Dennis is looking strong. This is the first time we've had him on tour with us this year. He's here, he's for real, and he's driving a Chevrolet.
And he'll be back when we hit the quarterfinal round of the sensational TNT Monster Truck Challenge action from Richmond, Virginia. But we're going to take a little break before we get to the quarters and head back to Fishersville, Virginia for the power of the TNT All-American Pulling Series. We'll find out if the defending national champion, Bad Dog and Mike Stowe, can get the win today in Fishersville. It's coming up next here on Tuff Trax. Television's most powerful hour continues on Tuff Trax. I'm Scott Douglas with Army Armstrong, and it's the TNT All-American Pulling Series. We're going to look at the action from Fishersville as we check the points, and the Sundance Kid is the leader on the TNT two-wheel drive All-American Pulling Series. Art Hathaway's Pumpkin Donkey Ford is second. There's the Walsh Brothers Irish Challengers. Excalibur King and the Little Red Truck round out the top five. Rowdy and Lige McClain in at 6. There's Ken Lamont's Midnight Express at number 7. Yellow Model T, the Winter Points champ, currently 8th. Jack Daniels, the Mark Hare truck, is 9th. And the Kodiak Dodge with Jim Brockman. We saw that truck pull earlier as our first puller. He's now 10th in the standings. He laid down at 294.66. So the first one to go after him now is going to be Jim Lyons and Stitches. Jim out of Louisville, Kentucky.
Jim's going to have to call on all his years of motorsport involvement to figure out how to put the horsepower onto this track. The problem we're having, it's a good biting clay surface when the moisture's there, but the sun is beating down. It's about 95 degrees right now, and it's actually like driving on asphalt. About the top inch and a half of the track is just rock hard, and Lyons putting the horsepower to the track. Look at this, Scott! He's banging it out the back door in Fishersville.
Takes it out. It is indeed going to be a full pull for Jim Lyons and Stitches as a cloud of dust. But we know he's either going to win or be coming back because he's got a full pull. He is now the leader, and we'll see if anybody can join him in the pull-off. This is early in the competition, and we've got a bunch of tough competitors like John Heilman, the Levi Garrett Sultan out of Rockford, Ohio.
Well, what Lyons did, he changed the whole complexity of the class. Now, you cannot win this event with one run. You must make a full pull and then come back and pull again. Lyons is sitting out there in the catbird seat right now. But like you say, Heilman's going after him, working the left side. Look at the ground speed they're getting. They are really laying the horsepower and getting it to stick to this track.
And he's out of there, too. John Heilman has got himself a full pull. So we know it's Heilman, Lyons in the pull-off, and still several of the best are yet to come.
Scott, what I'm looking for are quite a few vehicles to make the full pull. Now, the Jack Daniels Special out of Springfield, Ohio, Mark Hare coming up. This youngster's been watching the old pros in front of him. Watch for him to bang it out, too.
He's had an outstanding year thus far in the Winter Series, moving outdoors and looking good. Here comes Jack Daniels pulling her down. Mark Hare, the driver. Is he going to get her out like the rest? Plenty of speed and gone.
Boy, these guys are looking like freight trains running down the right side of that track, but I cannot believe the ground speed they're getting. Watch how quick that weight comes up on the sled. They are really mile an hour. And speaking of mile an hour, and your national champions coming out next from Georgia.
Mike Stowe and the Bad Dog Ford. Now, Mike was our test puller. He got a full pull in the test. They added weight. Army will see if he can take it out again and get in the pull-off.
So, having to work his way to the top. Let's see what he's going to do. Misses the weight a little bit. It starts to settle down now, but listen to the engine whine. Boy, he's leaning on it, Scott. He's not going to do it.
No, he does not make it. Does not get it out of there. That graphic's wrong. It's not a full pull. It's actually 291.11. So Mike is short. Let's go over to former two-wheel drive puller Chris Holdorf.
This is Mike Stowe, the defending national champion. You were a little bit light that time, didn't you think? Yeah, the track got hard. It was loading and unloading me on the back end, Chris. You've had that ride before, I know. It got to bounce with me. Couldn't make it settle. You know, the track's going to get hard now. I probably shouldn't have dropped that far. I was just full and dropped 7. I probably shouldn't have only dropped it about 3. But that's the price you pay. Thanks a lot. Good to see you.
He's not real happy with his run, but he meant that. I know a lot of the pullers really excited about seeing Chris Holdorf out with us this week.
Yeah, there's a possibility Holdorf may get back in this sport, and they're kind of worried about that. Speaking of getting into the sport, Bill Humphreys goes into the driver's seat of a truck that goes by the name of Spike. Now, he's a new driver to this truck. He's trying to get a handle on it, rolls out a little bit off on the way. Well, we've got a problem now. He's got his hands full. Look at this, taking a ride. Oh, you talk about stopping your heart. He had the right rear wheel completely locked up, cranked the steering to the left, only a 177, but he did a whole lot of dollar damage to that truck, Scott.
No doubt about it. As you can see it right there. Damage. Here's the replay, Army.
What it did, it started to drift on him. Now, the drivers have brakes on each wheel. He's trying to pull the truck around. He cranks the steering wheel with his hand. The left wheel stops. Then he nails the throttle. Then the body bites. Everything trying to go in different directions and completely wipes the front end of the truck out. Boy, that was just luck.
Hey, he got beat up in there pretty good, too. He was bouncing around that cab.
Yeah, he was taking a ride. A lot of people think this is an easy motorsport to get involved in. Right there shows you it's not. However, speaking of a smooth driver, look who's coming out next out of Crossville, Illinois.
It's Ken Lamont and his Plano Toolbox's Midnight Express. One of the best in the business, but he needs a full pull today to get into the pull-off.
Yeah, the pressure's on everybody in the rest of the field. You got to make a full pull. We told you the story. Now, Lamont rolls out easy on the throttle. Now the horsepower, about the 75-foot mark, he calls on it. The weight looks good. He's coming across the track. There's that ground speed again. They're really got it figured out. And he's out of here. He'll be back in that pull-off.
Full pull for Ken Lamont and the Plano Toolbox's Midnight Express. So already 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the pull-off, and we've still got several top competitors coming up, including Jim Brockman. Now, we saw Brockman a little earlier. He's coming back in the Chevy C-Cab.
This truck was built on the outer edge of all the rules. The truck is completely legal, but what he's done, he's moved all the way to the engine and drivetrain components to the nose of the truck. He says very visible, and it's a good truck to watch. The spectators can see him drive the truck and how you actually drive it. From a camera angle, we may be able to look down inside, and Brockman booms it out of here. Look at that. He could have gone to Oklahoma with that run. He's got the track figured out.
And he'll get a chance to prove it because we know we're going to see the Chevy C-Cab again when he returns for the pull-off. Jim Brockman out of New Haven, Indiana, putting on a good show for the folks in Fishersville with that pull-off. Now, the final contestant, if you will, Skyline Screamer and Kurt Poole out of Putney, Georgia. He knows what he's got to do, Army.
Well, he knows what he's got to do, and he's definitely capable of doing it. The Skyline Screamer, a brand new Chevrolet truck, a little bit slow out of the gate, but watch, he's going to call on it. Right there, and look at the horsepower come around from the Chevrolet, working the left side of the track. Poole's going out of here, too. Last guy in the class is not a bad place to be this afternoon.
A full pull, and so we know Poole will be there. As a matter of fact, when we come back to Fishersville a little later, 8 trucks will be in the pull-off. So we've barely begun to decide a champion in Fishersville, and you're going to see all the excitement coming up. When we move on, though, we'll be coming back to Monster Truck as they'll be attacking Richmond one more time. It'll be the second round as Rod Litzow, USA 1, Equalizer, Carolina Crusher, Gravedigger, and more. They're all coming up on the TNT Monster Truck Challenge here on Tuff Trax. The sensational TNT Monster Truck Challenge is right back at you here on Tuff Trax. If you remember the first round, you'll know USA 1 got a bye run, so now he'll meet Equalizer in the quarterfinals. Other first-round action, you'll remember, saw Leadfoot and Wild Hair come up with impressive victories, but both of those winners broke. Leadfoot broke after beating No Problem. Wild Hair broke after beating Gravedigger. That means we'll see the fast losers back. So Gravedigger is still alive, and Mad Dog will be coming back as well as one of the fast losers. Awesome Kong knocked off Stopper, and he'll go up against another of the fast losers. Nightlife, the fast loser, will come back with Dave White-Chorek. And then wrapping up the quarterfinal round, Clydesdale, who earlier beat Mad Dog, will face off with Carolina Crusher. We have some dandy matchups coming up in the quarterfinals. Army Armstrong.
I tell you what, you talk about a dandy matchup. I would just about buy a ticket and go sit on the other side of the fence to watch this next race. The Kid, out of Tennessee, your national point leader, trying to bump off number 1, the USA 1 Chevrolet, and they're off and at it.
It's the defending national champion closest to you, USA 1, and the new kid on the block, the point leader, Equalizer.
Oh, he's going over, Scott.
He lost the wheel and has flipped it to Equalizer, and David Morris is on his side. The camera's getting us a good
We're
shot
going to
at
get
it.
him out. He looks all right, Scott. It was close.
He has come out of the truck on his own power. You can see several running over to help him out. The EMTs are there. There's John Moore in the yellow driving suit coming over, another Tennessee driver, to see how David Morris is. And, of course, the TNT officials on hand, and the crowd is standing after a wild ride. Army's back with us. Army, look at this replay, and we'll see if we can look at the back end go up.
What happened? The truck landed good, but it took a bad bounce. The left front suspension collapsed, and he high-sided it in the worst way, crushing the right side of the truck down. The driver is okay. All the safety equipment held up, but what a ride.
What a ride indeed, David Morris. And there he is waving to the crowd. He's okay. An incredible ride for the equalizer. Here's Army with David Morris.
David, you set up a war and you fought a good battle. I can't think of anything else that you could have done to win that thing. It was awesome.
Well, I didn't know what happened. I knew I made a good landing when I landed, and I don't know, I couldn't figure out why the truck would be rolling, but I knew it was, so I hope it didn't hit Rod's anywhere.
No, Rod's okay. He was over here worried about you. The landing was good. The bounce is where the problem came in. You landed, it looked good, and then you took a real weird bounce that we've been talking about all night long, and it went over to the left front, and that's what tore the whole front suspension out from underneath the truck.
Well, I didn't know what happened. I knew something had happened major because the truck had started into a roll, and it hadn't been doing it when it takes that kind of landing, so I knew something had to broke.
We're going to let you. They're going to put you right back to work. Gary Cook got a bunch of guys. They're going to try to get the truck fixed. We're glad you're okay. We'll see you on the tour later on.
Okay, thanks.
David Morris remarkably composed, and wow, look at the damage done to the equalizer truck. It won't be back tonight. He gets the win, but David Morris is out of the competition for this evening. So officially he wins the race, but since he can't come back, it'll be USA 1 and Rod Litzow moving to the semifinals.
Well, like you say, the replay shows he won it free and clear, but one of the most concerned people on that track was Rod Litzow. Now, Rod flipped the truck 4 or 5 times already this year. He was very concerned about Dave. Once he found out he was okay, he took the USA 1 and went back in the pit area. Like you said, yes, we will see USA 1 later on in competition.
What a round this has been, and this ought to be a dandy right here as Nightlife Dave White Short meets this guy right here, Steve Kane, Awesome Kong from Saline, Texas.
It's going to be Texas in the Awesome Kong going to get the Nightlife out of Nebraska. Let's see what's going to happen. The Awesome Kong truck, a little bit of horsepower he's trying to find. Listen, the engine is going away on Awesome Kong. He's not going to make it. White Story could come back in that next round. You could actually hear the engine was just not getting up and making horsepower, Scott.
So Awesome Kong is out, and Nightlife will move on into the next round. Let's go over to Army with Dave White Short.
Nebraska native Dave White Story starting to turn things around. Is looking good for you tonight.
Yeah, things are going pretty good. Right now, the humidity's having a lot of problem with everybody's motor, and they're just trying to get it all worked out. So I think I got mine worked out, hopefully.
What about the track itself, the cars? We've been watching everybody. Everybody's landing kind of weird. It's like you guys are driving different. Is it because of the wall? What's going on out there? It's a whole new ball game tonight.
Well, the cars are pretty close together, so we're limited on space right now. But the speed's pretty excessive, and the ramps are kind of steep, so it's shooting everybody up in the air, and you don't have a lot of room for control and for stopping.
Some of the best races we have seen this year have been between Carolina Crusher and Clydesdale right here on Tuff Trax. Army Armstrong, we've got another one, and this time the winner goes to the Final Four.
Who's it going to be? They line up side by side. The Carolina Crusher looking awfully strong. Dominates this one. However, boy, that old Clydesdale kept coming back at the end. He is notorious, Scott, for super finishes, isn't he?
But not quite enough this time as Carolina Crusher holds him off, and for the moment at least still has that silver flag blazing on the back of that yellow truck. You can see right here, Crusher had the big advantage, but Clydesdale just stays on that throttle.
What he does, Clydesdale, with that long wheelbase, make sure the truck is real straight, and right when he hits the last ramp, boy, he just pulls the trigger and flies through the air.
Army's going to go over right now and catch Gary Porter, who's still got the silver flag.
Gary Porter, what can you say? You're still in this thing, and it's a battle out there tonight.
It is. After seeing Dave flip over and the wall so close, it was on your mind that the same thing could happen to you, and just had to drive real careful, and you know why I'm here, for the flag. I come to take first place, and that's what I plan on doing.
The gauntlet tossed to everybody else, including these two guys who got the benefit of the doubt. Coming back as fast losers, Gravedigger and Mad Dog. This should be a good one. Here we go.
John Green in a far lane left first, but look at the Gravedigger in front of his own home state folks. Boy, almost like he's possessed. He's not going to get put away twice tonight in front of his friends.
Oh, listen to the roar here at Richmond as the Gravedigger and Dennis Anderson will move to the Final Four. Army's going to catch up with Dennis right now.
Well, Dennis, you get back into this thing because of a technicality, but you're going just as hard as you should be here. Really, you shouldn't even be in the program, but you're advancing into the next round.
Yeah, we had a few problems from breakage, so I was brought back. I was sitting back in the pit, piddling along on my truck, had my driver's suit off. All of a sudden, they bust back in there and say, get your equipment on, we're ready to race. So I pulled it to the line, and I'm back in here.
How's the truck feel? Look good.
That feels good. I was a little late coming off on the line there. I wasn't paying real close attention to the lights, but now that I made it this round, the next round I'll be on my cue.
You're from Virginia. We're in Virginia. Is this Virginia's night tonight?
I hope it is. Needs to be my night.
He's already got a break. We'll see if he gets any more. And I know he'll keep that driver's suit on, getting ready for the semifinals, because we're going to be having him come up a little bit later. But it's back to Fishersville when we return. 8 trucks are still alive in the two-wheel drive super modified pull-off. All that power is coming your way next, right here on Tuff Trax. Stay with us. Raw power at its best every week right here on Tuff Trax. I'm Scott Douglas with Army Armstrong in Fishersville, Virginia, as we continue with the TNT All-American Pulling Series. Earlier, you saw some great pulls. As a matter of fact, there are 8 in the pull-off, and first to go at the heavier sled will be Brian Reed. Southern Thunder out of Connecticut begins the pull-off.
Well, now the pull-off's going to start. We're going to call them the Crazy 8. They're pulling 2,000 pounds more dead weight than they had in that first shot. Reed lines up. He'll set the pace. Everybody's going to be going after him. El Camino body goes by the name of Southern Thunder, but is powered by an Arias racing engine. Whoa, missed the way to the start line. Now it's settled back down a little bit. He's coming across the track, Scott. Nobody's giving up. Look at this. The last shot. They're going for broke.
You know, it's really interesting. He had so many problems. Still, that looks like a pretty good run, Army. At 210.72, he straightened and corrected and was able to move it down the track.
But in order to straighten these vehicles up, you have to hit the brake and it robs horsepower. That could come back to haunt him a little bit later. Look who's coming out now. Jim Lyons, GMC. Black out of the Bluegrass State, the old pro, trying to go the other side of a 210. Let's see if he can do it.
Looks like a good pull, but he's not going to get there. It's a little short. We'll get the official distance on Jim Lyons. He got very close, but not quite enough to take the lead at 207.68. So Brian Reed and Southern Thunder remains the leader. Now, John Heilman. We looked at him earlier. We'll see him again now in the Levi Garrett Sultan out of Ohio. John Heilman is one of the best. Let's see if he can pull it out here.
Heilman making Thunderbirds out of the Buckeye State. Roll the left side of the track. Now the track is the story. Look how dry it is. Look at the dust they're bringing up. He's working the left side. Now Sky's on him. Not going to do it. Boy, the track is really going away. Oh, the engine went away right at the end. Blew a cylinder on the right side, Scott.
Boy, this track is so tough, and it's taken its toll. Pictures tell the story here as John Heilman and the Levi Garrett Thunderbird having problems and will drop back in this competition. Let's go over to Chris Holdorf, who'll get the story for us.
John, did you drop the valve on that run?
No, we had an intake come loose the first pass. We retorqued the intake. I think they just sucked the gasket on down in. I think all it is an intake gasket. It didn't hurt the power any. I had a poor hole shot. You know, remember Chris Holdorf years ago? I drove like him.
You did a good job. Thanks, John.
Thank you.
It'll be the Jack Daniels ride now with Mark Hare out of Springfield, Ohio, next to try and beat that 210.72 of Brian Reed. A rolling start, and here he goes, Army.
You got to roll it for about the first 20 feet, then call on the horsepower. They're working the left side of the track, and the track is going away on that side. That's not going to work. A lot of horsepower to no avail. The track is just not holding. It's like pulling on a concrete road out there right now, Scott.
That'll drop him well back in the competition. So despite a full pull earlier, Jack Daniels probably won't end up in the top 5 with that pull of 182.32. Ken Lamont, Midnight Express, the Plano Toolboxing sponsored El Camino now, takes on the track.
He's watching everybody else. You know, if Hare didn't work on the left side, he's going to the middle. Now he hooks a little bit to the right. That's not the place to be. Where can you put the bite in the track? Lamont, normally out around 300 feet, only nets a 184.
Very disappointing, I'm sure, for Ken Lamont, who had an excellent pull first time around, but unable to get it all the way through. Here's Chris Holdorf with Ken Lamont.
How's it feel to go from hero to goat all in one afternoon?
I hear you. Well, we've got a lot of experience with that, Chris. I tell you what, them funny car boys ain't got nothing on us on this track. That's like pulling on a highway.
Well put by Ken Lamont. The track is very, very difficult. And now Art Hathaway and the Honkin' Donkey Ford will try to solve it.
The left wheel is turning feverishly, and the right rear is barely moving. Now it comes in. He had some rear problems on the starting line. He had to call on the throttle, trying to make the horsepower. Remember, once you leave, you got to go. And the honking donkey problem started in about the first 6 inches of that track. The rear end would not hook up. He still goes a 174, though, Scott.
Still well short of that 210 that it takes right now to get the lead away from our current leader, Brian Reed.
This is a guy you're going to have to watch. He can read a track, I believe, just as good as anybody in the sport. Brockman, I'm anxious to see where he's going to run from. Starts in the middle. Now the truck starts to work on him. The ground speed's there. Brockman drifting a little bit to the left. Tags the brake to pull it back in. A good run. Brockman's showing it can still be done, Scott.
We've got a new leader. It is the Chevy C-Cab and Jim Brockman at 220.62. Back over to Chris Holdorf.
Well, Jim, there's no count for experience. You kind of made them look stupid, didn't you? Well, we were trying to. You know, we'd really like to win this deal. There's a lot of money up. Red Man's putting up some money, and, of course, we got our sponsors, Kendall and Kodiak, that are right behind us, too, so we got to try hard and do good out here. Well, boy, you sure did a good job. You think this last guy can get you? Who's up behind us? Who cares? You know he can't get you. Okay, I know who's up behind us. I really doubt it. I really doubt it. Thanks. Thank you.
Chris kind of inspires these guys to tell it like it is. And I'll tell you, Mr. Brockman, a little bit cocky, but there's a fellow sitting right in the Skyline Screamer, Kurt Poole, who doesn't agree that he doesn't have a chance.
Tell you what, Scott, I'm going to go against the flow. I'm going to say the Skyline Screamer's going to nail Brockman to the wall on this run. Let's see what's going to happen. He's had more time than anybody to figure it out. Let's see what's going to happen. He's going after him. Scott, look at this. He's going strong. Still pulling strong on the other end.
Oh, it's close. We're going to have to wait. Here comes the reading. The laser beam measures it out, and there it is. 223.34. Kurt Poole out of Putney, Georgia, and the Skyline Screamer takes home the big prize from Fishersville, Virginia on the TNT All-American Pulling Series. The Chevy C-Cab and Jim Brockman second. Brian Reed, Sudden Thunder third. Then it's Jim Lyons and Stitches, followed by John Heilman and the Sultan. Let's go over to Chris Holdorf, who's got your winner.
Kurt, you made a liar out of me. You did a great job. How'd you slip up here and beat all these old boys?
I don't know. I was extremely lucky. I never thought that we would be that lucky. And this is a tough crowd.
There's oil on the track. You heard anything?
I think so, yes.
Well, let's hope it ain't bad.
I hope it's not bad.
Good luck.
Thank you.
So, an interesting finish has created new point standings at Ken Lamont's Midnight Express. Jim Brockman and the Chevy C-Cab now tied for the point lead. Art Hathaway's Honkin' Donkey third. You see the Irish Challenger and the Kodiak Guys now tied for fourth with Jack Daniels and Mark Hare. Sundance Kid drops to seventh. Little Red Truck, Rowdy, and the Yellow Model T round out the top 10 on the TNT All-American Pulling Series after a great event in Fishersville, Virginia. When we come back, it's the Final Four. Can Gravedigger win it all in front of the home state fans? You're going to find out right here on Tuff Trax. Tuff Trax, back in Richmond, Virginia on the TNT Monster Truck Challenge. I'm Scott Douglas. We'll be checking in with Army Armstrong in just a moment. And Army, we're down to four, and we've got four of the biggest names in the sport still alive. It ought to be an incredible semifinal round. How do you see it?
Well, the people in Richmond, Virginia are used to good racing, and believe me, they're seeing a whole lot of it tonight. We got four left of them. We got the Carolina Crusher going against Nightlife. That's going to be kind of an even shot. Then we got a surprise event. We got USA 1 quick qualifier with lane choice going against the Gravedigger. Now, the Gravedigger's back in this thing due to a technicality, but it's all above board. The brakes are going the Gravedigger's way. It's in his own home state. Can he hang on for a major upset? We're going to find out. But Army Armstrong's saying one thing. The one constant tonight is this wall I'm sitting on. Every one of these drivers are scared to death of it.
And the slip of Equalizer, where he kind of landed a little bit on the wall, even though the wall didn't cause it, I think is making it a lot more evident that they're looking at that wall.
Yeah, what they're doing, Scott, they're driving away from the wall. In the middle of the field, we got a real big problem right here. Nightlife is going to the final. Gary Porter, we get word, an electrical problem with Porter, hangs him on the first set of cars. That's going to hurt in the national points chase.
Well, you can see as he starts, look, it just goes right there.
Yeah.
I mean, you can tell it's electrical because everything just shuts down on him right there. And Wychorek, he wasn't looking back. Dave just goes all out and is going to give it a run, expecting to see Crusher coming after him. But Gary's dead in the water, if you will. I mean, he just got nothing.
Yeah. Well, Wychorek's doing the right thing. You race in front of you. He doesn't care about anybody but the lane he's running in. A good run for him, and he is going to the final.
So it'll be Nightlife in the championship matchup. Who will he face? Rod Litzau's USA 1 or Gravedigger and Dennis Anderson, as that silver flag will have to come off Gary Porter and Carolina Crusher. And Gary was really geared up for a great run, and really unfortunate to see it get away from him like that. But, you know, that's as big a part of the game as racing, is keeping your equipment together.
Oh, yeah, and, you know, Gary doesn't break that much. As a matter of fact, I think I've only seen him have one major breakage in the last 3 years. But you talk about a guy that's had his share of problems right here. He's lucky to even be sitting in that truck right now. Dennis Anderson, but the situation at hand is Anderson sits on the starting line waiting for USA 1. USA 1 is having drivetrain problems. They've got the truck started to bring it into the lanes, but the rules say you have 5 minutes in which to make the call. Anderson went to the lanes. We're down to about 30 seconds. Can USA 1 make it? It looks like he's trying to get there, but the drama's starting to build in Richmond, and he is on the line, Scott.
So we're going to have a race. USA 1, the defending national champ, Rod Litzau, and the Gravedigger, Dennis Anderson, who was the early point leader on this season. Now these guys are sitting 3-4 in the point standing, so this is a very big head-to-head matchup. Not to mention the fact that the winner goes into the championship. Litzau's got the good shot.
Litzau comes up, keep an eye on the Gravedigger. Oh, I don't know. From my viewpoint, we're looking right down the throat of them. We couldn't tell. It looked like they were side by side on that final jump.
USA 1 got the win, but there's transmission fluid pouring out of it, so it looks like Gravedigger will go to the final. Here's Army.
Ron Litzau, you won the battle, but you're going to lose the war on this one. What exactly happened to the truck?
Well, what I was telling you earlier, we've been busting our front drive shafts coming out that first set of cars. We're putting too much power onto the front wheels, and then when it comes down, it's like a load on it. So I snapped the U-joints, which caused this time here, doing it 3 times, busted my drive shaft in half, which slapped right into the tranny in my oil pan on it, punching a hole in there, so I lost all the fluid out of the tranny, which I can get it back together, but I don't have enough time in between rounds to do this.
Well, you talk about drama. He just ran over here and said he's losing his way to the final. That's not exactly the case, but when you go to the final, any way you can get there, it counts, and that's exactly where you are right now. What's going through your mind? Why Sorek sits out there believing he can win this thing?
Yeah, he can, but, you know, I jumped in that right lane, then I felt like I got a pretty good pass out of it. USA 1 didn't blow me away too bad. Now, I'm working with a little bit smaller motor this weekend than I've been working with, but I think I can knock Dave out.
It's Nightlife and Gravedigger coming up for all the marbles in Richmond on Tuff Trax. Several times in previous weeks on Tuff Trax, equipment problems, mechanical problems have knocked out the Gravedigger. But tonight, it has been his ability to keep that truck together that has got him in the final against Dave White-Shorrock in Nightlife.
Gravedigger sits awesome on the starting line. Look at those beady red lights. The Gravedigger's in town. He's in front of his own home state folks. Would love to put a win together. It could be a Cinderella final. Look at the far side. Gravedigger, almost possessed, is going to take the win, Scott.
The only victory he gets on the night is the one that he needed, as he gets the win in the championship over Nightlife. The equipment holds together, and the Digger will take the silver flag right here in Richmond, Virginia, in front of the home state fans on Tuff Trax. Army's going to talk to your winner.
Well, Dennis Anderson, kind of like the finish, you came back from the grave on that one, literally, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. We've been sweating all night out here. I lost my way to the finals, really. We're back in the pits, piddling around on the truck, getting ready for tomorrow's event. They came and run us out of the pit, said, hey, you're back up on deck. And, you know, I stood a chance of getting to the finals, and I did it.
Well, White-Shorrock gave you an awfully strong run, though, didn't he? That boy's tough.
Oh, yeah, he is. I mean, you'd never underestimate Dave. He may look lazy sometimes, but, buddy, he'll get you on the other end.
What about this national championship point chase? Now, you guys are getting ready to start on a big tour. You got a lot of cities in a row. Equipment, point chase, it's really getting dramatic in this monster truck competition, isn't it? You guys are definitely serious.
Yeah, we are. We're really serious in the whole motorsport of monster truck racing now, and it is going to be tough. You're talking about that little tour we have, and we'll be gone for like 4 weeks, and you have to carry a lot of spare parts for these things, and it's a lot of work, and there's a lot of late hours, too, pulled on them.
Well, speaking of spare parts, I've got a part over here for you. It's the championship flag that you'll be able to take on the New York tour with you. Congratulations, Dennis Anderson. And I want to ask this young man with you right here. Excuse me, son, who's the best monster truck in the world?
Gravedigger.
The Gravedigger.
He was in the final tonight and gets the win and the silver flag from Richmond. Now the updated point standings. Equalizer still on top, but Carolina Crusher has narrowed the gap. Gravedigger a solid third. USA 1 and Nightlife both looking good after a good day in Richmond. Now Wild Hair and Mad Dog, the Breen boys, still in there. No Problem, Stomper, and Master of Disaster round out your top 10. Well, the question will be, can Equalizer come back from his flip and maintain his point lead?